Hello everyone, and welcome back. It is time for Misfits Racing League action. It is time for Monday evening racing. It is time for the America's Tier 2 division. And joining me tonight for the Italian Grand Prix action, well, it is Mr. Mikau, all the way from the land down under in Australia. Mikau, welcome back. How are you doing?
Oh, it's glad to be back. It's been a long time since I believe it was Sakia. I was last in the comms box with you, Striff. I'm doing well on this lovely Tuesday morning down where I am. Of
Well,
course, very happy with the result from Monza this past week. So we'll see if the resident Australian on this grid can do that performance as well.
that's right. Daniel Ricciardo yesterday in the McLaren, taking his first McLaren win in, well, the amazing Monza. And we'll just, like Mikhail said, have to see if anyone can pull that off today. We have combined YouTuber on the grid tonight, if he can take care of business. Now, with that, let's take a look at the circuit. It is this Temple of Speed, 11 turns here, 5.793 kilometers. It is going to be a very, very intense race, as we already saw for the Tier 4 campaign earlier today. And with that, we're going to take a look at the calendar. With the calendar, we are here for the 5th round. Now, one thing, next week is an off week, so we will not be racing with you next week. But following that, we will be back in Japan right after. So we're taking a 1 week break, and then we'll be back for Japan, and it will be Suzuka, of course, following that, Britain, Azerbaijan, Hungary, Singapore, and then we have France, Spain, Austria, Mexico, and then the finale through in Brazil. And we'll take a look at the standings. The standings, oh, are they ever tight right now? We take a look at Dieg Surf, who is just 9 points ahead of Vlad Putin at the moment, and Henners is 13 points back of Vlad Putin. So things very, very tight in the standings, as Johnny Disco as well. He has 40 points right now. 32 for Graz, 30 for Larkin. Things so compact, especially in this top 10 all the way through really to Jay Fursai, where everyone's got points. You see there combined Gazieg and Thrills 4 points between the trio, and that is very intense. So we'll have to see how they go. Alfa Romeo is leading this championship with 90 points. Red Bull in second, McLaren in third. And my oh my, is it ever going to ramp up here as we come into the 5th round. We are a third of the way through now for these racers, and they are going to get the roll of the dice that is the weather. I am personally hoping to see some rain, but of course this America's Tier 2 grids has probably had more rain than any of the other divisions this season, so they're definitely not. But if anyone was to get it, I suppose they would be the professionals. Now, we will get the signal, and we are just about ready to go racing here, and everyone's readied up, and, well, very much looking forward to our second of 6 races this week here in Monza. And welcome in everyone in the chat, in the Twitch stream. And if you're new or if you're just joining us, welcome to America's Tier 2 on a Monday night. Share the stream, tell your friends, tell your family. We got a great race about to unfold here. And we don't even know what the weather is yet.
Well, you could say, Stro, it's the third race of 7, if you want to count
True.
Saturday night's endurance race, the 53-lap campaign around the Temple of Speed. 11 corners at this track, so not that many, but all the corners are very crucial because there are so few of them. Of course, you have the Red Affiliate chicane, turns 1 and 2, where we saw a lot of drama on Sunday between the two championship contenders there. So we'll hope that Dig Surf and Vlad Putin can avoid recreating that.
Just a
But
little
things can
drama.
get very intense. Very intense. And of course, the Ascari chicane and the newly named Alboreto curve, of course, formerly known as Parabolica, in honor of Alboreto, who sadly was killed in a very high-speed accident. I believe it was Le Mans, if I get that correct. But still the same old Parabolica curve that we all know and love, and it's clear skies for the 18-minute qualifying session, Striff.
Well, a lot of drivers, I imagine, going to be relieved with those conditions, Mikhail, and of course the Curve Alboreto there. The 11th turn, formerly known as the Parabolica, still a very iconic banked curve that will always present some of the most exciting racing, I think, here in Monza. Henners is the first driver out of the pit lane, closely followed by, who is that? I believe it's Disco in the McLaren. And it will be the Williams and McLaren drivers first out here into the Rutifilia chicane. The very, very difficult and hard-braking turn 1 and 2. And Henners will be potentially the first driver to give us a flyer here. But, Mikhail, why don't you take us through who is racing with us on this grid this evening?
I'm just going to go on the order of the teams if I can. So Captain Miner and Larkin in the two Mercedes cars, and we have Sidewinder and Vlad Britain in the Red Bulls. Johnny Disco and Orphalorian attempting to get the 1-2, just like Lando and Ricardo did on Sunday. They're in the McLarens. And we have the two Aston Martins of Kettle King and Duffield. And then I think we go to Alpine, Dang Wu and Spanini, rounding out those two. The two AlphaTauris, Jay Fasai and Paula Brady. They will be looking to get a decent result and doing better than the real life AlphaTauris did on Sunday Make It Past lap 5. We have the two Alfa Romeos of Dig Surf and Combined YouTuber. Two Haas cars, of course, the Rave as Henners is starting the first flying lap of the session, so taking on board, he has Word Dad alongside him for this evening. So a long run down into the first braking zone, braking around 125 meters for the Retifilia chicane. You really want to attack the curves as much as you can, avoid the exit curve at turn 2, and just it's all about getting the power down as quickly as you can. Keeping it tight now for the Curva Grande turn number 3 up to 8th gear as he approaches nearly 320 kilometers an hour, braking just around the 100-meter board, really attacking these apex curves if you can. You want to be careful not to let the curve wash you out wide, though, for the Roger chicane. The first of the two Lesmos now, turn 6, and now into turn 7 for the second Lesmo. Gets it done nice and easy. You want to use that ash reserve on the left-hand side, and then just scrubbing off as little speed as possible. DRS wide open now as you come towards the infamous Ascari chicane. It's always been a very, very difficult sequence of corners. Turn 8, turn 9, because it's slightly raised. He avoids the apex curve at turn 10. And then there's one more curve, formerly known as the Parabolica, now renamed the Curva Alboreto. Down to 5th gear and just trying to pick up the power as early as you can, being sure not to run wide on the exit, then cut back in for the shortest run to the line. That is a lap around Monza, and it's a 1:20.4 to start us off, as Johnny Disco goes about 2/10 slower than that of the McLaren.
Gozdieg now coming through to the line. He will go 22.444 in the Haas. Turtle Rave with an issue. Pulled off there, I think, just allowing drivers by. A few other drivers now coming through to the line. It will be the Ferrari of Graz, a 20.460, just 0.02 of a second quicker than Henners. And wow, Dang Wu, 22.250. He's done this on the medium compound tires, Mikhail, and we've got 6 times on the board as his teammate Spanini pushes through on the softs into a 20.984, and there goes Jay Forsai.
It's already getting very, very close at the top. We have yellow flags at the Ascari chicane. No issues there. I think it's just one of the Haas cars getting out of the way. I'm currently on board with Captain Miner. He's making his way through the Alboreto curve. We'll see what his first time is. And it's going to be enough for 5th place, a 1:20.8 to 8 and 9, just a 1/10 between himself and Spanini at the moment.
Both Alfa Romeos on the push. Larkin coming into the pit lane.
Dig Surf, our championship leader at the moment. What's his first bagger time going to be? It's going to be close to the 1:19s, and it is. It's just the 1:19, 1:19.998. So a very, very strong time. About half a second between himself and Graz at the moment. So a very, very strong start for our championship leader. He'll be looking to extend his advantage in any way possible. It is very, very close up there between himself and Vlad Putin. As combined YouTuber, his teammate slots into 8th place at the moment, 1:20.9. And that's one of the AlphaTauris just coming across the line. That's Jay Fasai on his second attempt of a lap. He goes up into 7th drift, only 8 milliseconds behind Waffleorian in that McLaren.
I'm not sure if Paula's disconnected. I saw a little bit of a red X on that AlphaTauri a few moments ago. Just checking in with that. Word ad
It
pushing
looks like
through.
she's fine.
Gonna be coming into the pit lane, word ad, I believe.
All these drivers have finished their first runs, except of course the three at the bottom who are yet to set a time. The Thrills, Larkin, and Duffield. A lot of action in this pit lane. 11 minutes and 45 seconds left to go, and it looks like Hennes and Vlad Putin are going to have to pull out something special if they want to catch Dig Surf in this qualifying session.
I really agree with you here. I think that Dieg Surf showing a little bit of a pace of his own right now. He's in a little bit of a different dimension from these two comparatively. Given the lap times, you've got Graz and Henners deadlocked with Wordad, actually. He's right there. You've got a 20.460, 20.480, and then that 20.490. Those three are very, very tight. And then Johnny Disco, Waffleorian, the two McLarens. You've got Jay Forsai within 8 milliseconds of Waffleorian. It's a very tight lineup all the way through this grid. You can see the separation from first down to 10th is less than a second. But of course, if you take away Dieg Surf in that equation, you've got things a little bit tighter all the way down to 14th. And that is just the difference maker right there. Is Dieg Surf is nearly half a second up on Graz right now. Graz on an outlap, Henners on an outlap. Henners is about to begin in the Williams, and Johnny Disco is flying just in front of him. The McLaren is pushing through the Redophilia chicane right now. Other drivers we can take note of that are on flyers are Thrills and Larkin. Larkin will actually be coming through to begin or to set a lap in front of any of the drivers previously mentioned. So Larkin on the mediums, Mikhail, pushing through into the first Lesmo.
Yeah, apparently it was a purple sector one, and if that's true, then that is going to be a really, really great start to his lap, but we'll see how the rest of it goes. Misses the apex slightly at the second Lesmo, so not ideal for the second Mercedes car. He's looking to try and pass his teammate, who's currently sitting in 8th place. And then braking for the Ascari chicane. You can just see a little bit hesitant on that turn-in, just trying to keep it nice and steady for his first run. We'll see how he takes the Alboreto curve, braking just before the 50, down to 4th gear, gets decent rotation in the car. A bit too much rotation strip as the Mercedes goes around.
That's tough, and this is a very, very scary place to lose your car. You can see the speed at which these drivers exit, and Johnny Disco, well, he just shows us at which speed the drivers exit. A 19.869 from the McLaren for provisional pole position here, Mick. Very nice run.
It looks like Hennes has to abort his lap, so he'll have one more attempt, or two more attempts if he decides to go out on that same set of tyres. Turtle Rave also backed out of his lap. He's got a 49.2 at the moment, but he is flying again into turn 1, Striff.
Good to see Turtle Rave back. I do believe he was absent with us last week and perhaps the week before. Full-time driver with Gazieg there, and he'll be coming out of the Curva Grande. We have an issue ahead of him. It looks like there might have been one of the McLarens just pulling off there. Johnny Disco, the only McLaren on track at the moment. Turtle Rave coming out of the Della Roggia chicane into the first Lesmo.
Yeah, just on the start-finish straight, Dieg Surf has started.
Ooh, that's a big crash. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Mick, but we were on with Turtle Rave, and he burned it a bit too much coming out of that second Lesmo, and we got all of that. Oh my.
So I was trying to say in the pre-show as well, Striff, all of these corners, you have to really attack and just throw the car and just hope that it sticks. And it just didn't quite stick for Turtle Rave, unfortunately. As Vlad Putin takes provisional pole with a 119.8. About 200ths of a second between himself and Johnny Disco. And Dieg Surf, he is currently down on his time strip through the first sector, but we'll see how he handles the Ascari chicane and the Alboreto curve.
Well, he's losing still a little bit of time as he enters Sector 3 here, coming out of Ascari now, down the long straight here in Italy. Sidewinder pushes through into 4th position, closing the gap further. Let's see what Dieg Surf can do now out of turn 11. Tight to the inside. No, he's coming into the pit lane. And who was that just flew behind him to begin a lap? That was Duffeld, yeah.
So the Aston Martin doesn't quite have a lap time set yet. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the session. Larkin as well on an outlap. He is currently at the 2nd Lesmo. With Duffield, all eyes on the Aston Martin at the moment. His teammate Cattle King, not the best time so far. He currently sits in 16th, so he'll be looking to improve on that one. As the two Red Bulls actually doing very well at the moment. 1st and 4th. Sidewinder with a 120.1. And this really puts the pressure on Hennes to really perform on this this final run strip, because at the moment he's starting in 6th place, and with the track rubbering in as much as it normally does on this game, he might be in a spot of bother on the race.
Yeah, I think you're right. Who is that? Wordad pushes through into 4th position ahead of Sidewinder on the rear of Dieg Surf. Now we have Duffeld coming out of Ascari looking quick.
It looks like it's been a pretty tidy lap so far. Not the fastest I've seen, but certainly not the slowest. As that fuel indicator comes on, so he's running on fumes at the moment. It looks like he doesn't exactly take all of the line that he can, but it's still good enough for 11th place, 120.7. We're just going to have to see how Larkin does, as he is the last driver yet to set a time in the session.
Yeah, he's coming out now of the Delarogia chicane, and now he's pushing through the 1st Lesmo. And this can also be a very tricky bit of circuit. And, well, as I've mentioned it, that's a commentator's curse. He's gone wide, and he's invalidated.
Yeah, it's not great for the Mercedes driver. He'll have to hope for something a little bit better than that on his final run. And looks like Hennes is, what is he doing? He is going straight back into the pit lane. So he's gone out again. He's tried, but something has happened. And just, yeah, unfortunate to see Hennes struggling after setting that decent banker time for 1 minute 20.4. He's now down at a 7th place strip.
Not a lot of drivers on flyers at the moment. I think Thrills may be flying in the Ferrari.
It is that time in the session where everyone's just waiting for the track to rubber in slightly. Yes, you are correct. Thrills does seem to be pushing quite hard through the 1st and now the 2nd Lesmos. Matching his time at the moment, but it's he needs about 3/10 if he wants to make even a single spot on this grid. So we'll see how confident he is coming into Ascari.
Currently found 1/10. And he'll need to find, as you mentioned, 3 here to even slot himself 1 position.
Through the Curva Alboreto. Shifts up very early into 6th gear, and again, we're seeing some drivers not utilize the entire width of the track to really gain the speed. It is a whole 1.5 improvement. He jumps into 9th place nonetheless. So must have had an issue through the Ascari chicane on his banker time. So redeeming himself there into 9th place, but he's going to be cutting it close if he wants to get another run in with just 3 minutes left in the session strip.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Dieg Surf now pushing. He is in the Alfa Romeo. A 19.998 is currently the time he has on the board. He's coming through the Curva Grande now. We'll have to see what he can do. Graz is also flying, and he will be flying into the Curva Alboreto. And what can he do here around the home circuit? Monza for the Ferraris. Let's see Graz. He finds an improvement, but it's not enough to really run up the grid, and things really tightening up now. first all the way down to 14th position. 1 second is the separation, and you can just see the cars flying out in front of the
Oh, Big
Ferrari.
Surf's cut it. Big Surf, he was on a really, really nice lap, but just took too much curb at the Ascara chicane, so he's going to have to try and reset, charge at least a little bit of that battery if he wants to have any shot at this pole position, and it's all the cars coming out on track for their final run. What's curious to note, Striff, is that we haven't really seen anyone attempt the toe at all.
No, I haven't seen that at all, and I tell you, I didn't really see it earlier today in Tier 4 either.
I mean, getting a toe down that main straight or even into the Alboreto curve could at least be a 10th.5, and with how close this grid is, that could be the difference between pole and starting on the third row of the grid. But speaking of pole, Vlad Britin has started his final run to try and solidify that pole position. I think he's got about another 10th.5, and I think we could see maybe a 0.7 or a high 0.6 as Gorzieg calling it in the pit lane. So 17th is the best that he can hope for. But all the cars now out on track at the moment, Strip.
Duffeld on an outlap right now. Paula Brady on the rear of him, not clear, but I think Paula may be getting blocked at the moment by the Aston Martin. Jay Forsai, 7th quickest for him, 20.312 for him, and now that's going to be where Paula wants to land herself, and unfortunately, Paula's had an issue. This is not good. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm seeing things or not, but that was one of the craziest things I have ever seen.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't catch it on my end, Striff. I've just been looking at all these guys that seem to have aborted their runs as DX does improve, and it is enough for provisional pole position, but only by 0.03 of a second. Vlad Patin has invalidated his next attempt, and he'll be pulling it into the pit lane. So that is the Red Bull driver done for the session. Now it's all eyes on this McLaren of Johnny Disco as he comes through the Ascara chicane. One more corner to go, and it's a corner that has a lot of time in it if you really nail it. Late on the brakes, slightly earlier on the brakes, takes an earlier apex. Can he get the car straightened up in time? He does. Keeps it nice and tight. But has he got the speed? He does, Striff. He's on pole by half a 10th and 119.784.
Very nice run there.
Yeah, he's trying to repeat what Daniel Ricciardo did. Pole position, pop first into turn one, and then don't look back. Word Dad, as the checkered flag has now dropped. He'll come across the line. He is unable to improve. He will stay in 4th position. Paula Brady jumps right behind her teammate in 8th place. Jay Fasai, he's not on a flying lap at the moment, as Duffield jumps up into 9th place. Waffalorin up into 7th. So the two McLarens doing very, very well. And Hennes has invalidated. And like I said, Striff, he's now down in 12th place.
Yeah, that's really not where he wanted to land himself, even remotely. Not at all. Combined YouTuber invalidated at the moment. And I guess I have some element of desync on my end with Miss Paula Brady. So hopefully that will correct itself between now and the race session. That would be ideal. Otherwise, we don't know what we may find.
There we go. We have our grid for the Italian Grand Prix, and it is the McLaren of Johnny Disco, actually in Ricciardo's car, setting the fastest time. And he'll be looking to convert that in the race with a nice solid haul of 25 points, or 26 points if he wants to take the fastest lap as well.
Going to be a great race with a lineup like this. Gap right now from first all the way down to 17th position is less than a second. You have Cattle King Dengwu there within striking distance as well. Gazier, Turtle Rave not having the best luck here. We saw that issue he had out of the second Lesmo. It's very unfortunate, but now we have ourselves the starting lineup, the grid positions, the classification from our qualifying, and it was this man, the American Mr. Johnny Disco, the McLaren, a 19.784 pole position here in the Americas Tier 2 division. It was Diego Surf in the Alfa Romeo, who is a very serious challenger in this championship. He is currently in second in the Alfa Romeo, 19.827, just less than half a 10th on the rear of Johnny Disco on that front row, and Vlad Putin top 3 in the Red Bull. 19.850 for him. Wordad Sidewinder rounding out your top 5. We'll go down through the rest of the grid on the formation lap. Well, Mick, what a qualifying, and I think that really sets the stage for a race that everyone can be excited for. Welcome to 27 laps of Monza.
Yeah, it's quite a difficult race on the drivers actually, Monza. You'd think they have a lot of rest time with all of the long straights, but every single corner is just so important. And a grid as tight as this one, Striff, one little mistake can cost you a whole lot of positions. And if anyone is familiar with how the F2 series normally goes in real life, where there are equal spec cars, just like here in the online, there tends to be quite the train that emerges. So it's going to be important that all the drivers are able to stay within that 1 second, unless you are Johnny Disco or unless you're the car leading on the first couple laps. You want to break that if at all possible and just alleviate all pressure as all the drivers now starting on their formation lap. I'm seeing quite a few medium compound tires on this grid. And yeah, with 11th through to 17th starting on the mediums, but strangely, or I think interestingly enough, the back 3 opting for the softs, and that could actually play quite a crucial role in this race strip.
Definitely can play a crucial role. I think Paul and I are still desync. That car showing in 9th right now for me with an X, which is extremely unfortunate. However, I do believe for all the other drivers on the grid, she is there. Now, with that said, again, Johnny Disco, Dieg Surf, Vlad Putin our top 3. Wordad Sidewinder 4 through 5. We have Graz, Waffalorian, Jay Forsai, Paula, and Duffeld rounding out our top 10, all on the softs. And then, as Mikhail, you mentioned, 11 through that 17, all on the mediums. We have Thrills, Henners, Larkin, Spanini, Captain, Miner, Combined YouTuber, Cattle King, all on those mediums. And it's Dangwu, Gazieg, and Turtle Rave opting for the softs. Turtle Rave with an issue off the line with that DSQ, which can definitely present challenges.
Well, Turtle Rave just needs to take it nice and easy into the first 2 corners and just avoid all the carnage that is so typical at the Retifilio chicane on the first lap. But these guys on the softs, I've been in that situation before, Striff, a couple of seasons ago, in mainly that I race in, and having the softs at the start can really just catapult you. If you get a decent launch off the line, those mediums aren't going to be feeling too great, and they aren't going to provide a whole lot of traction. So they can make up some very easy positions and then just undercut those guys on the mediums to jump up a significant portion of places and just give themselves the best possible chance of securing some points, as Waffalorian has actually spun at the Alboreto curve, trying to warm up the tires, so that's a bit unfortunate. Paula Brody, unfortunately, leaving the session, so hopefully we can get her back in as soon as possible. But the cars are taking their grid slots, and it's going to be a very, very interesting, I believe it's 460 meters from pole position down into the first braking zone.
Yeah, it's a very intense run, a very serious run we saw earlier in Tier 4 between Trixam and Disaster. How intensive a run it was, and Trixam did take the pole sitter off the line into turn 1, and that was a very intense matchup. But of course, now 4-5 red lights here in Italy. Paula Brady now joining the cars are away racing. It is Johnny Disco, Dieg Surf on the front row with Vlad Putin tight on the rear of all of this action. Things looking very, very tight between Sidewinder and Wordad. Who's this? That is a Ferrari sidewards coming through into turn 1.
Oh no, it's Sidewinder. There's a blockage at the first chicane. That's Graz and Sidewinder both losing it there. So the front 5, it looks like, are well and truly away. But Henners, he's made up 6 spots in the first 2 corners, Strip. He goes up the inside of Duffield into turn number 3. Right behind his teammate now as Wordad gets overtaken by Waffalorian. But our front 3 holding line astern, they have gotten off to a great start. The biggest looters is Sidewinder and Graz, both down 15 and 8 positions apiece. There's a yellow flag at the De La Rogia chicane, but that one gets cleared up very, very nicely. But Henners up 6 spots, as is Deng Wu in that Alpine car. He's up to 12th place as well.
Things very intense, very Very chaotic on this race start right now. It's trying to make sense of all of it. Appears desync may have been playing a role in some elements. Not entirely sure, but of course, if you look at this grid, everything's so tight all throughout right now. Who's this? Spanini really struggling through Ascari. Really struggling, losing 2 positions there. Gauzier, Graz pushing through. Graz and Sidewinder exchanges. Sidewinder pushing through into 16th position, looking for Cattle King as well. Nothing happening just yet, but Vlad Putin right on the rear of Dieg Surf. I don't believe Johnny Disco and Dieg Surf, I don't think they know each other there, or do they? Look at this. Vlad Putin getting Dieg Surf as easy as you like, and there has got to be some kind of connection issue unfolding with us right now, because this is something like I haven't seen this yet.
Well, looks like Vlad Putin definitely knows that Johnny is there. Has a look up the inside of the De La Roja chicane, but just decides to back out of it. He's ahead of his championship rival at the moment, and without that DRS just yet, Wordad is pushing like crazy to try and bridge that gap. With how much these front three are fighting, he might actually be able to do it.
Yeah, that's extremely important. It's critical, race critical for Wordad to bridge that gap. He's got 3 seconds, but if he's able to connect this train a bit, well, he's going to be able to do a lot more with a lot of these cars in fighting capacity. Right now, that gap, 1.2, it's not good news, and we've had an issue rearward in this grid. A yellow flag, but nothing terminal.
Yeah, that was just for Gauzier. He had a little bit of a moment coming out of the second Lesmo, and Johnny is suffering from some technical issues of some kind. He's down into 8th place now, and now down into 13th.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to make of that at all. Jay Forsai at 22.936, the fastest lap presently. Sidewinder 22.920. The timing tower in a land of its own for the moment. Grills, Paula Brady pushing into 9th position as there's Deng Wu on the outside of the Ferrari. Now we're going to be going on the inside of the Curva Grande. Deng Wu on the inside. Pushing, 9th position for him. Larkin looking at the Ferrari. Does he send it into De La Rogia? Oh, he looked, but he does not send it.
Oh, Larkin just getting just no grip in those front tires, and gets around his teammate as well, Captain Minor. Both Mercedes going around up the De La Rogia chicane on this 3rd lap. So Toto will be definitely banging his desk at that one. You don't want to see that one happen too often. But it looks like our front two have just about gotten away from Wordad and Waffle behind them. So McLaren has a little bit of a slip through the Ascari chicane, and he might actually lose DRS because of that. He's pushing to try and stay within that 1 second. But I don't think he's got it, Striff. It's going to be pretty close if he does. And it doesn't look like it. So the McLaren losing out on DRS to the Williams ahead as Vlad Putin starting to stretch his legs a bit, and sets the new fastest lap of the race by a couple of tenths.
Duffeld, Henner's now exchanging. Duffeld in that Aston Martin pushing for 5th with ease, and Henner's just outside that DRS of Waffleorian. Maybe Duffeld can do what he couldn't and kind of connect them. Waffleorian with 5 seconds, not in the most ideal position to be a part of a DRS train. But of course, should there be a safety car or anything like that, it could net him a good chunk of position. Of course, you've got Jay Forsai in this equation. Paula Brady has moved into 8th position, who wants to, of course, push through as well. Deng Wu in 9th there. Grills taking up that 10th slot. Only 4 drivers with penalties. Wordad, Waffleorian, Graz, and Gauzier. It's 3 seconds for Wordad and Graz, 5 seconds for Waffle and Gauzy. Benini moving through into 18th position, dispatching the Ferrari for, well, the position, the 3rd last position on the grid.
We have a yellow flag. That's the Mercedes of Larkin. He's around again between the 2 Lesmos. His teammate just zooms on past him, and it's not been a great start for the 2 Mercedes cars. Meanwhile, at the front of things looks like Jay getting very close to the back of Hennes. Hennes having an amazing start on those medium compound tires, but there's just so much pace in that AlphaTauri, and as the DRS train now forms, it looks like Jay might actually have the overspeed that he needs. He has a little look. Does he go for the lunge? No, he decides better of it as Deng Wu passes his teammate. Paula Brady, as Paula's hit the apex
no.
on the wrong way, and she has gone around. That's the last thing that you want to see. She's now down in the 13th place and has a lot of work to do if she wants to get back into those points-paying positions.
Well, right now, I'll tell you something. Duffeld and Waffleorian are locked in.
Oh, there's a slow Alpine. Dengwo, he's had a trip in the gravel at turn number 5. And he's lost 2.5 seconds off the back of Jay. So after getting past one AlphaTauri, going to struggle to get back past as Graz making a move on Spanini. Spanini's had an issue at the chicane.
Oh, Duffeld, he looked for it on Waffle there, but he couldn't find it, and this might have just exposed him enough to Henners. No, it hasn't. He's still locked in on Waffleorian and Duffeld. Henners is on these mediums, waiting for these softs to fall off. Duffeld looking for the inside, nothing doing just yet. Waffleorian in a really solid position. He's got 5 seconds, but that doesn't matter to him right now. He's got a solid track position. Now you can see it. Duffeld pushing. He's going to have this outside DRS in utilization with ease. This is going to be a move for the Aston Martin. Now Hanners to the inside as we come into turn 1. You can see it right on the rear of this Aston Martin. Pushing very well is the Williams, and now it's time for the Williams to push up on the Aston Martin. Does he have enough of a carry of momentum? Jay Forsai has had an issue coming out of turn 1 and 2. You can see he's lost a position to Johnny Disco. He's also going to lose a position to combined YouTuber in that Alfa Romeo as Duffeld and Henners do exchange. Henners pushing into 5th coming out of the Della Roggia chicane. Things very, very much intense in this 6th lap of contention already. Everything getting fired up between the medium runners and the soft runners. It's really, really great to see.
Yeah, I saw it happen with Jay. He did the same thing that his teammate did just the lap prior, just taking that apex curve at turn 1, attacking it a little bit too much, and then just hopping out and spinning over it as the rear tires catch some air. And then that's cost him quite a few positions. He's now down into 11th place. Combined YouTuber up from 16th to 10th. A great start for the Australian at the moment. And we see what he's able to do in that Alfa Romeo, trying to get back into that DRS range. And is so crucial here. It looks like Henners is about to come under pressure from the 2 cars behind him.
Yeah, Duffeld's really been eyeing him up, wanting this position, and Henners is going to be hard-pressed to get an opportunity to defend it very well with that DRS for Duffeld. Something's happened. I think that might be one of the AlphaTauris.
Oh no! Oh no, Paula, she was trying to recover from the Alboreto curve, and Turtle Rave has run straight into her. Luckily, we're on reduced damage, so there won't be any side pod damage, but if we were, that would have been definitely lots of damage on that side of the AlphaTauri, so very, very unfortunate. That's the pit lane. Goes all crazy. There's the 5 seconds. Yeah, that was just not good at all.
We have a VSC deployed. Wait, there's been an issue. Was the issue?
Yeah,
okay,
the lobby's not having a great time. We do have a virtual safety car. That does make sense for just the sheer impact speed and how hard that crash was. Fortunately, both cars able to continue, just change of front lane, new tires, and they'll be good to go. But
it's the call here for Vlad Putin. Does he come in? He stays out surely. No one's coming in.
Well, mediums from this point of the race are a bit touch and go as to whether they'll make it to the end, as we have a couple of drive-throughs as well.
Oh no!
It's Graz and the Turtle Rave down 16th and 18th. They have both picked up a drive-through penalty, so unfortunate for the Ferrari and the Haas. But things are really starting to heat up, and with that virtual safety car, lots of the gaps have indeed extended. Now the biggest DRS thrills, taking a trip to the gravel, not quite getting those mediums up to temperature, and he's going to lose quite a few positions. Sidewinder gets past as well. Thrills will have to slot back into 12th.
This timing tower, for me, unfortunately, giving me a little bit of an issue.
It'll fix itself eventually. Meanwhile, at the front of things, Vlad Putin has been able to break out of that DRS range. He has burnt quite a bit of battery to do so. DXF trying to find any way to get back within that 1 second, but he isn't really finding any luck with it. That gap is just extending as Gorzieg has had an issue. He's crashed, I think. No. Yes, he has. He's crashed at the Curva Grande strip.
That is not what you want to be doing at all. Not at all. Here it goes. Johnny Disco, Deng Wu. Man, oh man, was that ever a lunge coming out of the McLaren? Looking for this Alpine. Defending now to the inside for Deng Wu. Johnny pushing with that DRS on the rear wing.
Uh-oh. Vlad Putin, he's lost it. He's lost a front wing at the Curva Grande strip. I don't know what's happened, but the Red Bull has no front wing, and he's lost the lead of this race, and he's going to have to pit right away to get that change.
That is monumental for who was the race leader until just moments ago. Now Deng Wu, Johnny Disco still locked together in their battle, in their duel.
Lots of drivers now struggling on these old soft compound tires as they really have no grip left in them, but they have to make it just a couple more laps to get the mediums comfortably to the end. The pit window should be open for all these guys now, but we'll see what happens. This combine is now up into 8th place after his... just trying to stay out of trouble, really. So he's doing very, very well, but he's got Jay Fasai right on his rear. And Alfa Romeo versus AlphaTauri, which one's the true Alpha? Looks like Jay has to hold it back for now through the Ascari chicane, but look at the run that he's getting on these old soft compound tires.
Yeah, it's crucial here that he can make a difference with combined on those mediums and keep with him, because he's got Sidewinder just keeping with that DRS range. Duffeld and Vlad Putin are in, and there's been contact. Yeah, Duffeld and Vlad. Vlad went into the rear of him.
They both get 5 seconds for that incident as Deng Wu passes Johnny Disco with ease. On the main straight, they are the first two of the pitters. Wordad will follow them in as well. And Vlad, he's just lost so much time because of that front wing. You really hate to see it. But here we go, Sidewinder trying to catch up with combined. Jay has gotten past the Alfa Romeo. So Jay up to 6th, combined down into 7th. Larkin making his way past some of the hitters, and now it's going to be all eyes on this Alfa Romeo because he's going to have to respond to this undercut just to be safe. Strip.
Going to be very interesting to see how these strategies play out with the fighting that we've seen.
Yeah, there's already been quite a bit of drama during this race. A lot of drivers struggling at the first chicane, and I actually haven't seen too many issues through Ascari yet, guys, so very nicely done as yes, DXF does respond, pulling into the pit lane, and I dare say that Waffalone and Deng Wu, as well as Jay Fasai, will follow suit to right on that pit window. There's actually Deng Wu going to stay out.
Yeah, well, Waffle coming in there, Johnny doesn't want that double stack, but you can see now he does want that second position, pushing in front of Deng Wu with these DRS really playing a role here. Deng Wu really taking a lot of that inside curbing through one, rolling that whole front left over that and kind of trying to give himself the best rotation through into that second turn. Now Johnny exposed into the De La Roggia chicane here, but closing just narrowly off, and we've got a yellow flag just in front of them. That is a Haas.
Total Rape is able to get the car recovered in time to let the leaders by. He's actually just going to park it right before the apex of the second Lesmo, trying to stay out of the way as best as he can. Cut some grass, but no issues there as Sidewinder's going to breeze past the Alfa Romeo from behind YouTuber. The DRS assistance. So that's the Red Bull now up into 5th place as Deng Wu picks up a 3-second time penalty for extending a little bit too wide at the exit of the Ascari chicane.
Not what you want to be doing in this type of race where you're playing a strategy, potentially coming in to get a win. 3 seconds is absolutely going to hurt you, and now you can see more soft runners on the way in. Combined YouTuber will now take 3rd position on the mediums. Deng Wu, interestingly enough, has stayed out here, and I think this is the wrong call.
Yeah, it's definitely too late. He's going to lose a lot of time from the guys undercutting him. A couple of drivers actually going a bit too hot into the pit line. I saw Jay Fasai picked up a time penalty for speeding, as someone else did as well. I believe that would have been maybe the Turtle Rave, I think. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But we'll see how this undercut has gone. Diego Surf comfortably out in the lead of things, about 9 seconds or so away from Duffield, who's in a net P2 at the moment. So very, very nicely done from the Aston Martin. Of course, does have that time penalty from the collision with Vlad Putin. But Johnny Disco, after the connection issues, he's now recovered up to a 9th place, a net 4th.
Here goes Word Ad. Hold the phone while Florian Larkin have been exchanging. There's been some good battling here as Larkin on these older mediums putting up a fight against the McLaren and the Williams. And you love to see it. It's kind of just pulling off to the one side here. Word Ad not going to be able to do anything, and now Wafflorian has a little bit of separation, and you can just see the grip and traction differential on the exit of the Ascari chicane between Word Ad and Larkin. Wafflorian's gone.
And meanwhile, the other Red Bull and McLaren are having a duel. Looks like Johnny is going to breeze by the Red Bull. Sets a purple final sector. Fastest of anyone so far in this race. He's going to make that move easily past, as does Jay on Captain Minor for that final points paying position. But of course, lots of these guys still yet to pit, and I expect the medium runners will be coming in about 5 or so laps time. Yeah, so they're currently 10th and 11th at the moment. Hennes, our race leader. Right now, 2 seconds between himself and Deng Wu at the front. Both of them are yet to pick. I'm surprised that Deng Wu has stayed out as long as he has on these soft compound tires. Spanini lapping the Turtle Rave. Turtle Rave's gone on to hard, so unfortunate to see Haas having a very abysmal race. And Deng Wu, surely he has to pit eventually. No, he's still staying out. He's now done 13 laps on those soft strips.
Vlad Putin, Johnny Disco right now. I think we're going to see a potential changeover here between this pair. And now Johnny Disco, he is going to have that rear wing wide open. Vlad Putin, not a lot in it here between the pair. Easy as you like. Vlad Putin, however, waiting a little bit later on the brakes. Ooh, that's crazy tight. And Vlad Putin holding it. My, oh my.
Yeah, Johnny just went a bit too deep on the brakes going into turn 1 and we compromised his line through turn 2, and Vlad was just able to keep it nice and tidy around the outside. The speed difference, I was having a look while they were having a little bit of a drag race, is about 15 kph between the two of them with the DRS utilization. As combined, lets his teammate go nice and easily, doesn't want to hold him.
Uh-oh. Is that Henners? That's Deng Wu. That's a big crash.
Those softs have given up. Those softs have indeed given up. He's stayed out way too long, and he's paid the price for it. So Cattle King will pass him now. Aston Martin up into 5th place, yet to stop. As a Duffield with the next to pass. Of course, staying where he has to pit now. Like, this is going to force him to, and that's really ruined his race. But everyone else keeping it nice and tiny at the moment, which is great to see. Waffle eyeing up a move on Captain Minor, as the Turtle Rave has had a spin at the exit of Ascari, similar to what Deng Wu had just a few moments ago. Hennes picks up a 3-second time penalty in the lead of things. And Waffle, he's going to make the dive. No, not quite. He spooks Captain Minor a bit, though. Wordad eyeing this up with intent as well. Larkin not too far behind them. However, the Mercedes, both Mercedes, yet to stop in this one.
Captain Minor, excuse me, was in the wall of turn 1. So I don't know, you mentioned he was spooked. I don't know what happened there. Maybe that's just another issue for my end. Maxim telling me in the chat that there's definitely some desync. Sorry for the desync, ladies and gentlemen.
What I can tell you though is Waffle has so much speed, reaches 340 kph going to the Ascari chicane, and he's able to easily make that move past Captain Miner. Now Wordad trying to do the same. But he doesn't want to do it too early to give Captain Miner the opportunity to fight back. He will have the inside line into the Alboreto curve. And there he goes. Nice and easy. Does it? He's now up into 12th place on the road. The two Mercedes now very close together, as Captain Miner is going to be the first of the medium starters to pull into the pit lane.
Here goes Vlad Putin, Johnny Disco. Vlad Putin takes a 3-second time penalty. Johnny Disco on the outside, not with the exit he needs. Very, very tough racing between these two right now.
That's now 8 seconds for the Red Bull. And at the moment, Striff, that's going to put him out of the points.
J for Sai, Sidewinder tight on track for me at the moment.
Yeah, the Red Bull eyeing up the sister car, trying to set up the move. Doesn't quite have the ERS to play with though, sitting about 30% whereas the AlphaTauri has about 60. But with that DRS assistance, he will have an opportunity to start to charge that battery. Henna's staying out yet again as the blue flags are now being waved from Total Rave. He's about to get lapped yet a second time from this grid. Very, very unfortunate to see, but glad to see that he's still attempting to reach that checkered flag.
Yeah, you gotta respect the dedication there to finish the race. More drivers coming into the pit lane now as we have Thrills and Cattle King. J for Sai under threat. Sidewinder pushing with the DRS now.
There you go. He's going to breeze by that AlphaTauri, but he's used a lot of resources to do so. And that's going to hurt him in the long run. Misses the apex of turn 1 slightly. Jay getting a better run through turn 2, but can't seem to find the grip in those medium compound tires compared to the Red Bull. But he will have that slipstream to catch right back up to the back of Sidewinder.
Waffleorian a little shaky coming out of turn 1 there. And he is unfortunately going to drop a bit back on the Ferrari ahead of him.
Here we go. As all eyes now on these soft runners to see if they can get the undercut on their fellow medium starters. Thrills currently coming through the second of the two Lesmos. Doing very, very well. There goes Hennes into the pit lane. Looks like Combined will follow him in as well. This is the pit window to put on those soft compound tires. We'll see how things go. So Dig Surf in the lead of things quite comfortably, it would seem. And in total control of this race, Johnny Disco now recovers up to second place on the road. But he doesn't have a whole lot of battery. Yellow flags in Sector 1. Temporarily at the first chicane, but 14 seconds ahead. Big Surf might actually get the pit stop gap and take fastest lap here as well if he really wants it. Depends on how much these three behind him continue to fight. As Hennes has come out right behind them on these fresh soft compound tires, so things get very, very spicy very quickly in this race strip.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I think everything's really setting itself up for a spicy finale here based on some of these strategies. Combined YouTuber on the rear of Wordad right now pushing for 9th position. You can see that battery in DRS and utilization as the Alfa Romeo just breezes by the Williams into the Ascari chicane with ease. 8th position for Combined. Very nicely done there from the Australian driver.
I mean, yeah, to make it from 16th on the grid up to 8th is no mean feat. I'm just curious to see how much more grip these fresh softs are going to have for the remaining 8 laps in this race. But it looks like Duffield eyeing up a move on Johnny Disco at the moment. Thrills on those soft sets of fast slap. Johnny Discos, he's had a moment at the exit of the chicane. He's going to get jumped by not one, not two, but potentially 3 cars. Johnny slots in right behind the Red Bull. And he's having a look. Duffield defends from the Red Bull of Vlad Putin. They both have an issue, and Johnny's going to get past both of them, as will Hennes. Oh no, the Aston Martin and Red Bull locking wheels.
That was so intense.
That's the last thing you want to see if you're those two.
That was a huge opportunity for Hennes there. Very, very important opportunity now with the DRS on the rear of Johnny Disco. He's got these soft compound tires. He's pushing, but he's going to drop that throttle entirely. That car just went completely dead on the throttle. I think that might have cost him overall.
He's waiting for turn 1. I mean, the other two have caught back up to him, but he's trying to... Well, I think what his plan is he's going to overtake it at turn 1 and then use those softs and use that full battery almost that he has to just try and pull away, because Johnny, he knows that the McLaren is low on battery. You can see that red light flashing. That means he has less than 10%. And here goes the Williams. It's hammer time for Hennes as he sails by the McLaren and tries to pull that 3-second gap that he needs.
Yeah, Henner's in a really good position right now on such fresh rubber. The egg serve 15 seconds, and now beginning to drop to the soft runner. Henner's with 3 seconds, however. Now Waffalorian, Cattle King pushing into 11th at Aston Martin. Fresh softs for him as well. Combined YouTuber on the rear of Sidewinder on the rear of Jay Forsai. It is the Honda-powered, well, Alpha Tauri and Red Bulls who are under threat from the soft-running Alfa Romeo. And Combined will be happy. These drivers may just be easy pickings for him.
Well, the priority is going to be getting past this Red Bull, as Jay still does have that 5-second penalty from speeding in the pit lane. And there he goes. Combined YouTuber now up into 7th place. A net, I believe that's 4th? 5th? Net 5th place at the moment. Duffield also has that 5-second time penalty. But that one a little bit up in the air at the moment. That one might get removed post-race.
We'll see how things are going now coming out of the Curve Alboreto. Combined with the DRS on the rear of now Jay Forsai with the battery in full utilization. He is not waiting around. Look at this. Just tons of speed here. Jay Forsai a little bit later on the brakes.
Larkin has had an issue. He's crashed at the exit of Ascari. This could actually potentially bring out a virtual safety car or even a full safety car. Swanini about to go through that section. See if we can get a bit of a look at that Mercedes car. And there it is. He's actually very far in. I don't know what's happened there. But he's, yeah, I don't know how he's managed to get it that far away, but the marshals have cleared that up, and then there are no plans for a safety car at this point in time, which I think for all these soft runners is a blessing.
Sidewinder, 8-lap old mediums with Jay Forsai here, and they are within a second of course, Combined, who just pushed through. Now Wordad drops to Thrills, just coming into the Ascari chicane. Dengwu. Did something happen to Dengwu here? He seems to be dropping at a very big pace to Paula.
I'm not entirely sure, Strip, but what I do know is that Johnny has a very, very nice opportunity to get past the Red Bull of Vlad Putin. And there he goes. Around the outside into turn 1. Vlad defends it. A little bit of a wheel bang. But there we go. The McLaren is able to get by. Duffield now back in within that DRS range, and Combined, he just has to continue doing what he's doing, and he will jump both of these guys on penalties at the moment.
And Tommy Tower over here on this end, still playing a bit of a shuffling game, but of course trying to get you all of the relevant action. Here comes Vlad Putin. Vlad Putin's had a snap coming out of the first Lesmo, and that is not what you want to be doing even remotely. Fortunately for him, no visible damage. Really ooh, that's scary when you see two cars coming through that quick, and my oh my, was that scary. And he's spun it once again here. Cattle King's coming through.
Yeah, those tires are just piping hot. Waffle has to really get out of the throttle to avoid crashing into the Red Bull. Vlad really struggling to put on the power of those rear tires around 112 degrees in the red zone. And he's gotten that car under control once again. But there we go. And Budgerton, to cap it all off, gets another 3-second time penalty. So looks like all of Red Bull's hopes for points are now wide with Sidewinder, who's in 7th place at the moment.
Jay Forsai right now and Sidewinder. Well, one thing to note was that Jay Forsai and Sidewinder were quite close together on the rear of Combined, but since Combined overtook them, Jay has been able to hold with Combined YouTuber here on these mediums, whereas Sidewinder has dropped out of that DRS range. Jay Forsai, if he's able to continue holding with Combined to the point where those mediums do exactly what he needs against maybe Combined Softs and just bring him to a good point where they're kind of even, that could be a position for him over the Alfa Romeo. We'll have to see if he is able to hold it. It's very crucial that he holds the DRS. You can see Sidewinder is not within range of Jay.
Yeah, Jay using a lot of resources to stay with the Alfa Romeo. Those softs compared to 10-lap-old mediums still have the grip advantage. But Jay getting a nice run through the Ascari chicane compared to the Alfa Romeo, is able to keep that gap consistent, keep it at 7/10. He'll be well within DRS range to try and just do anything that he can to catapult or save some of the positions from the drivers behind him.
Still holding that DRS into turn 1, and you can just see this gap to Sidewinder growing now 2 seconds. And Jay is showing some good pace in that AlphaTauri.
As is Combined YouTuber, they've both been catching Duffield at a very, very nice rate.
Yeah, Duffeld's in big trouble here because not only is Combined just sitting on him now and just gaining tons of time, but he's got that 5-second penalty to contend with, and once Combined gets through him, I'm sure Jay Forsai is going to be right there to try and catch up anything that's left over. Jay, holding the way he is with Combined right now, could be slated to just push through with the Alfa Romeo, depending on his striking distance to the Alfa Romeo. And right now, he's quite far back.
Something to remember is that Duffield, he did get his 5-second time penalty from the collision with Vlad Fytron, and that I know from the steward's office will get looked at and more than likely removed. So Combined is racing Duffield full position, and he needs to time this move very carefully with only a handful of laps remaining in this one.
Uh-oh, Captain Miner's car on my screen has spun. I don't know if that is in reality or not.
Nope, he's okay. He's fine. He's just sitting at the back of Dengwu and Paula Brady, who actually are having quite a bit of a tussle.
Combined and Duffield. Sorry there, Mick. Combined and Duffield with an exchange now. Combined pushing through on the Aston Martin. Through into the first turn. Jay Forsai not in it yet.
5/10 now the gap between those two. Just making the move. 8/10 back to Jay Forsai at the moment. I was just saying that Paula Brady and Dengwu are having a bit of a tussle at the moment. Captain Miner is right behind them as well. Coming down the main straight, here goes the Alpine. To the left-hand side, is going to breeze past that AlphaTauri, and Captain Miner will have to just sit back, relax, and get the popcorn out. Leipzig setting the fastest lap on those fresh soft compound tyres. I don't think anyone's going to be beating that anytime soon. Here we go. Combined might have done his move just a little bit too early because Duffield is just going to be saving up that ERS and staying within that 1-second gap.
Thrills.
Sidewinder and Thrills.
Oh, this is intense. This is crazy. They're wheel to wheel. They went through wheel to wheel. The entire Ascari chicane now. Wordad looking for a slipstream. He's on the rear of Thrills. He's going to push through on Sidewinder. Sidewinder looking at all of this now as Wordad holding 8th position. Washes out wide. Does he have enough traction pushing out wide there to really hold here? Thrills running off into the sunset while these two do battle. And this is a serious drag race into turn 1. The Red Bull and the Williams on the rear now. The Ferrari. Look at this. This is crazy. Thrills a little bit later on the brakes than the trio. Well, then the pair on the rear of him will say, and look at this now, the exit for Sidewinder, just fronts to rears for that Ferrari, and well, Thrills still holding on to 7th position. This has been a lovely, lovely battle.
Yeah, Thrill's using a lot of resources to stay ahead of the Red Bull. You can see that red light flashing. He's struggling with ERS, as is Wordad. Not quite as badly. Those Captain Minor and Dengwu having a bit of a battle as well, right behind them for 12th place. They're actually still going at it through the chicane. And Paula, not able to get the exit that she needs. Combined is doing his absolute best to try and break that DRS range, but just isn't quite able to do it just yet.
Well, DRS range, Duffeld and Jay was breaking it, or at the very least trying not to have that DRS range broken on Combined, or excuse me, Duffeld. He's got to really push to bring it back in. I think he might have just got it. He really had to find some time coming out of that Ascari. Does he have it? No, he will. Yes, he does. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, but he's nowhere near the gap that he needs to mount any kind of challenge. This is the final lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Dig Surf, he has looked in control this entire time.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Mick. Sidewinder Thrills having their little duel through into turn 1, and Wordad is still here with them. You do not want to make any mistakes. It's the final lap of the race now. Penalties are in effect for many of the drivers, of course, on this evening's grid. Track limits, speeding. We had drive-thrus come into tonight's equation. It's been a very turbulent race.
There we go. DX he has one more corner, the Curva Alboreto, and he will take a very, very convincing win here at Monza. He comes around the curve. The checkered flag is there. Our championship leader extends his advantage at the top going into the first break of the season.
Very, very good run from DX Surf. Very consistent run from him. Now Henner's 10.3 seconds will cross now to the line. In second position, it will be Johnny Disco to cross in third. And of course, now Combined YouTuber. What a drive it has been for him tonight, Mick. Duffeld, 5th. 6th for Jay. Sidewinder, he will cross with Thrills tight to the rear now. A very tight run to the line. Less than 0.2 of separation between the Ferrari and the Red Bull. And what a race. We're going to get interviews in just a few moments with our podium finishers or whomever is available.
And it looks like the race isn't quite over just yet. Captain Minor trying to get the run on Dengwu, but he's just got to run out of time. I'll have to settle for that 13th place. Paula Brady in 14th, Vlad Putin. Unfortunate that he loses so much ground to his championship rival. He will finish the race in 15th. He'll probably drop to 16th on penalties. There we go. Yes, he does. Now it's just Spinini, the last car to finish this one. Passes Dig Surf's car. Last car to finish the race on the lead lap.
There we have it. The Alpine finishing things up here in Monza. What a race, what a campaign for America's Tier 2. Of course, tomorrow we're going to be back with the Tier 1 division. That's going to be some very, very exciting action as well. We have Tier 3 for the European side of things at 3 p.m. Eastern. We are going to get interviews in just a minute. There is the podium. There is Dieg Surf. What a finish. Henner's there as well. We had Johnny Disco in the McLaren, and just a serious, serious race, I think, for those guys. Saw a little bit of connection issues come through in this one, which you hate to see, but I think everyone can be happy at the end of it as long as all the drivers didn't have those issues on their end.
And also a great race from Combined YouTuber, the resident Australia. 16th to 4th in that one. A very, very nice result for the Alfa Romeos here this evening.
Yeah, it was a really good job from Combined. He kept things super consistent. Not a penalty to his name. We had other drivers that took a couple penalties. You had many drivers with 3 second time penalties, and Combined just kept his nose clean. 16th all the way to 4th. really solid effort today, and well, he's got to be happy with that. Dieg Surf, his teammate, with the win. Just a good team drive today.
Yeah, very nicely done.
All right.
Surprised we didn't see a full safety car during that one, to be honest. Definitely a couple of incidents that would be worthy of it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. We now have, of course, one of our podium finishers in for an interview. It is going to be the McLaren of Mr. Johnny Disco. Johnny, welcome in. What a race, Italy. How are you feeling after this one? 27 laps, and, well, we missed safety cars in this one. It was just a serious race. Start to finish, not a lot of breaks. How you feeling?
I'm a bit upset about what happened at the start. My game was on the verge of crashing, so I had to stop recording my game. It dropped me all the way down to 13th. I think it could have been more than a podium, but I'm happy with third.
Well, it was definitely an amazing effort, and it's so sad to hear when those technical issues can impact a race in such a way. Do you think that with this race now, you're coming into a break, you've got you've shown some great performances in these first 5 rounds. How does it give you the confidence moving ahead through into a quick break ahead of Suzuka and then into round 6?
Gives me some good confidence. I think I'll be able to come back stronger after the break.
Well, definitely looking forward to seeing you potentially give a really solid shot at this championship run. It was a really good race tonight for you. Of course, thank you for taking the time to interview. Mikau, do you have any questions for Johnny Disco after this race?
I just have one. How did it feel, Johnny, after you had those technical issues? What was going through your mind when you saw, okay, now I'm 14th? Like, it was just full attack to try and get back as many positions, or did you have some other strategy at play?
Yeah, I was just full push the whole time after that happened. It didn't matter to me if I crashed. Okay, as long as it wasn't with another person, obviously. I was just full attack, pushing the whole time.
Well, amazing quality time as well, putting it on pole. And we hope to see you back in a couple weeks' time at Suzuka.
Take care, Johnny, and thank you for taking the time to interview. Do you have any last words for the chat before we move on to Henry?
Nope.
All right, thanks a lot, and we'll see you in Suzuka. All right, everyone, that was Johnny Disco. We're going to talk to now Henners, and well, Henner's no stranger to the commentary booth, as you've had some good finishes this season already. You're adding to that tally now, another podium here for you. Second position finishing for Williams. It's a circuit that you've had some up and down luck around, if memory serves me correctly. How you feeling?
Oh, it's just happy to actually finishing it. A Monza race, to be fair.
To actually yeah, see, that, if I remember correctly, was bang on as soon as you said that.
The Ascari chicane each time, every damn time. So I almost crashed in quali there, and the practice race I crashed there. So it wasn't looking too good, but I managed to keep it clean and get the P2.
Suzuka coming up, of course, round 6. We have a bit of a break. Suzuka, a circuit that you've also had a bit of a hey, how you going experience. I know that you're a big fan of Dunlop there. What does this mean to you coming through into a week's break? We asked Johnny the same question. You're in a potential championship run here. It's a very competitive Tier 2 Americas division. You're driving that Williams. It's got a good pedigree, a good reputation in the Americas, given Becky's championship last season and where he stands this season. So what is it that you're looking to do in Suzuka?
Definitely not one of my favourite tracks, that's for sure. I hope to get some good points. That's the main goal at Suzuka. Then we'll see where we go from there.
Mikau, any questions for our dear Henners after his second position finish here in Italy?
No, not really. Just a great drive. Very convincing. I mean, unfortunately, it looked like Dig Surf was just a little bit too far away.
Yeah.
It was a nice recovery from what was a pretty disappointing qualifying. Just run us through what happened in quali.
I turned off ABS because I thought it would be better for quality. It almost spammed me twice, so I was like, okay, let's turn it off, back on again. And then I didn't do it. I did a shocking lap actually. I was really poor for myself. I was quite annoyed, but I was happy to start on the medium, so it was like it wasn't too bad, I suppose.
Well, congratulations on a nice recovery drive from you as well.
Thank you.
All the best in a couple weeks' time at Suzuka.
Thank you.
Any messages, Henry, for the chat before we wrap things up?
Big shout out to Codders. He's an Alfa Romeo boy, but he's a Willis boy at heart.
Okay, thank you, Henry, and again,
Cheers.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up this evening's action for the America's Tier 2 Italian Grand Prix. Joining me this evening from the land down under, Mikal. Thank you so much for joining me for what I think was a great race. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And of course, well, we'll have to see what happens in the next round. I was going to say next week, but we're on a break next week. So, of course, any last words from you, Mick, before we wrap things up ahead of tomorrow's racing action? We've got America's Tier 1, we've got Tier 3. It's going to be a great week of racing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't miss any of the action around Monza. It always produces something special here for us. And yeah, Tier 3 tomorrow at 8 p.m. British summertime. And then America's Tier 1, where looks like it's going to be, just looking at some of the lap times from practice, it's going to be a real thriller.
Well, I definitely hope so, and I definitely think so. And well, that is going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Wishing you well. Have a fantastic evening, and of course, jump in for a raid right after our outro. See you in the next one.